It's Monday. Welcome to Sam and Cathy, the companion podcast to Sam Roberts Show. We do Sam Roberts Show every single night, Monday through Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius 206 XM 103. But nights aren't enough. We want to join you on, we say we want to join you on Monday morning, but it's a podcast. So whenever you decide to download it, that's when you're listening to it. Cathy Kelley, welcome.
We are on demand all the time.
Yeah. Like we figured out this new technology that nobody has before.
On demand because we're in demand.
That's right. That's right. And Adrian, of course, is here, our producer.
What's up?
The producer of the show. I don't know if podcast producing is a real thing, like a producer for a podcast.
Yeah, you said this to me the other day.
Yeah. I feel like it's like...
Non-existent?
I mean, it
But
exists.
it exists, yeah.
But it's like interning for... Like, I had an intern for my college radio show. And people would come up to me and go, why would anybody intern for a college radio show? College radio is where the interns can have shows. It's like, if you're going to produce a podcast, produce your own podcast.
Well, there are very successful podcasts out there.
Well,
and this one will be if it's not already.
I would say it is. And I guess there are some of the bigger ones that may require it, or like producers for podcast networks, where there is actually stuff going on.
Yeah.
But if it's like, two comedians just talking to each other, like, what are you producing, You're just there to turn the mics on. However, not to take anything away from anybody, because that's not what our mission is here. First day of spring.
It is.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting for everybody. How's your weekend?
It was cold, and I got some stuff done, though.
That's good. Just
feel accomplished.
Enjoying the East Coast.
Hate weekends.
You do hate why? Because you're not working.
Yeah, I texted you the other day because you got to work, and I was so jealous.
Yeah, I went to it. Yeah, but you also have to
It's fun.
You
work.
say exactly.
Yeah.
You say, well, I hate the weekends because I like working, but it's like, what do we do?
I like doing stuff.
Right. This is the work that you're talking about.
No.
Right. Like I'm sitting there going to a wrestling show, and you're like, oh, you're at work, huh? It's like, yep, just me, nose to the grind again. I'm a slave, just working again. But I did that, and then I was probably up until like 4 o'clock in the morning last night trying to find my technology and stuff to record at WrestleMania Radio Row in a couple weeks because I always bring my own stuff, and so I had to find like my old like podcast mixer and mics and all this stuff, and I was just sitting there in the living room while Jess slept on the couch all night until literally 4 o'clock in the morning, going check. Check, test, test, and that's all. That's all that was happening. She fell asleep. I kept the dog up. It was great. It was the perfect weekend. But that's the glamorous life I lead. A lot of people say when I start getting into my personal life, I become unrelatable, and I get it because that type of stuff is this sort of like, wow, show business. You know what I mean? So I get, and I don't mean to place myself.
People.
I don't mean to do that. I don't mean to do that. I know it sounds very, very glamorous, but I swear, I'm just like all of you.
Just a normal guy.
Just
a
a normal
chicken finger
dude.
connoisseur.
That's right. Maybe just a big nerd is the whole problem with everything. And how was your weekend, Adrian?
It was uneventful.
Good.
Yeah.
You shaved.
Good. Yeah, you
I
did.
did.
You did shave.
Yeah.
Big weekend for him.
Oh, the ladies are gonna respond.
I wanted to show off my new jawline.
Is that it?
Yeah.
So was your beard a fat guy beard?
No, I grew.
Did it become a fat guy beard? Like you were like, I better not shave.
No, I liked having the beard.
You did.
I got compliments on the beard, but I think I look better clean shaven.
You do?
Yeah.
Good
Sam,
for you.
did you notice that he shaved until I said something?
No, I didn't. But I'm glad that I know now because
It's smooth.
I mean, good. Yeah, it's going to affect my
Unlike
life
you.
in day. Yeah.
What'd you say?
That's
worry
about
about
right.
it.
That's about right. So, one of the things that I've been meaning that I meant to talk about last week, I didn't get to it, but because it reminded me a lot about stuff that I've gone through. I think everybody's gone through. There's this teacher in Georgia. It was my favorite news story of the week, and it was just because the Hulk Hogan trial and the Jared Fogle thing, all this stuff happened last week, and I didn't get to my favorite story, which was this Georgia teacher who is apologizing, but has resigned now because of complaints after he called one of his high school students the dumbest girl he's ever met. Now, I don't know the context for it, and they're not reporting it. That's my problem with the whole story. But this teacher he was doing his thing. He's teaching, but now all the kids have iPads in this classroom. So they can record lessons, theoretically, right? So they can record the lectures.
Yeah.
And they can go back, because really when you're in high school, notes aren't enough. You want to go back and listen to your high school teacher's lecture.
Yeah.
You're probably really going to do that.
My mom had a problem with that because she teaches med school, and so they wanted to record, not even letting the kids record it in class. They wanted to record her, like the university, and then put it online in case you miss class. So it's like an excuse to not even go to class.
I would never go to class. If the thing was online, I just download it and never listen to it, and then it would have some record of me downloading it. I thought you were going to say that the board, had to listen to her lectures to see if she was the proper teacher, not like a radio air check meeting, except for lecturers.
No, but then she always includes funny things so that people remember certain topics easier.
Right.
She's like, I feel like I can't include those if I'm being listened to constantly.
Yeah. There's something about knowing that it just exists in this room, even though it is a public thing and you're talking to a group of kids, especially on a college level when you're talking to adults, you can get away with a little more. You can actually speak to them like grown-ups. You're not speaking to them like little kids. And you can just feel free to do your thing because you know. But if it's recorded, then you know. Even if it's not for the purpose of reviewing the lessons, you know that anybody on the board or any of her bosses, anytime they want to, can go and download the thing and look for something that's not being done right.
Do you think this guy, though, was being too harsh, or kids these days are just... Everyone says they're getting bullied.
I don't know about these kids today. Well, here's the clip. Let me pull it up. This is the clip of him saying that, because the whole lecture was taped, and then one of the people in the class, I don't know if it was the girl or if it was somebody else in the class. They probably, when you're in high school and your teacher starts to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Never on earth is there more of a pile-on situation. I don't care if it's a well-liked teacher. You know that when your teacher gets in trouble, you're going to do anything you can to just be like, oh, I got this evidence. There's probably dozens of kids that are just contributing tips that mean nothing. The other day he told me I had to do homework. I think he was saying I was dumb too. You want to see this man's life crumble because he has the power to make your life miserable. This is what he said. The lecture was taped, and then one of the kids isolated that part of the lecture when he called the girl dumb.
And I have been around for 37 years, and clearly, you are the dumbest girl I have ever met. You know what your purpose going to be? To have sex and have children, because you ain't never be smart.
What a dickwad.
Well,
he's such a jerk.
We haven't met the girl yet.
Yeah.
Maybe her purpose is to have sex and have children because you ain't never going to be smart. You ain't never going to be smart.
That's so bad.
You think so?
Yeah, saying you're never going to be smart. It's one thing to say, you did a stupid thing, but I know that you can do better.
You don't think that there are people on this planet that are stupid people? I've met stupid people.
I've
have
met
too,
stupid
Adrian.
people, but I have hope.
Work or something.
I think that anyone can progress and do better.
Do you think a naturally stupid person can become... I mean, they definitely can't become smart, but can become not stupid?
No.
You don't think so?
There are degrees to it.
Right.
And there are some people for which there is no hope.
I think that's right. And it's not a matter.
Horrible.
It's not like mentally challenged. It's nothing like that. It's just this is a person who is like anybody else, but their brain is clogged with something.
I have a friend like that.
And you do.
He's an idiot.
Right.
But he happens to look like he's carved from stone. So he's good.
So he's fine.
Yeah. He's a super good looking dude. He's huge.
Yeah. I had a friend.
But he's the dumbest person I know.
For those of you that have been listening to me podcast forever, you've met him before. I have a friend named Matt who lives in Stamford who is, I mean, the things that he says just make no sense. And it's dumb stuff.
Yeah.
and it makes you realize that this world that we're all looking at, that we see in common, doesn't exist to some people. There's a whole thing that from the outside of a person to the brain, there is some kind of stupid filter
Oh my gosh.
that stops information from getting into the brain.
But isn't as a teacher,
Right.
you are supposed to be fostering the youth of America
And inspiring, you
and
mean.
inspiring them and encouraging them to do better, not telling them that they're so dumb and that they're never going to be anything but dumb.
And baby machines. He said she could have a baby.
She could do that.
She could. I bet. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're a thing, but probably.
Which
Probably.
hole? Round peg doesn't fit in square hole.
Yeah, you don't know. You don't know, but probably. I wonder. So this happened in Georgia, and they said, the school system said, the superintendent said he's not going to be returning to the classroom after this because he, said that the girl was the dumbest girl he had ever met, and she will never be small. You know what your purpose is? To have sex and make babies, because you will never be small.
It sounds like something from Forrest Gump.
It does. And by the way, Forrest Gump lived an incredible life.
He did okay for himself.
But at the end of it, when he was sitting there at Jenny's grave, spoiler alert, and he had little Haley Joel Osment with him,
Yeah.
he was still a stupid man. He was not a smart
He was
man.
a very, very rich, inspiring, stupid man.
Right.
Who made babies.
He made it. He made a baby. He married a woman with AIDS. He met a ton of presidents.
He ran across America.
He
a few
ran across
times.
America, and guess what?
He was an All-American.
He was an All-American, and he was a stupid man. And if a teacher had told him,
He's stupid smart, though.
No, he's just stupid.
I think he's just stupid. What part of Forrest Gump is smart?
Yeah.
The part that made Bubba Gum Shrimp Company.
Very
Look,
successful.
this is. I didn't say Forrest wasn't successful, but Forrest. You know why you could tell he's a very stupid businessman? Because he's driving his shrimp boat around. This is his business.
Yeah.
And what does he do when he sees stupid Lieutenant Dan? He
crashes.
jumps off the boat and the boat
He
crashes.
jumps ship.
Yeah. You know how much money that took away from the company? And Lieutenant Dan didn't even want to see him. He was pissed at him. And Forrest didn't have the emotional intelligence to know that all this guy wants to do is sit in his wheelchair, find some prostitutes on New Year's Eve, and hate his life.
Because he was a positive thinker.
Forrest.
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's easy to be a positive thinker when you're stupid. You don't realize. That's different.
I wish I was more stupid.
You know? Yeah.
Just be happy about everything as opposed to overthinking every little thing.
I think about that sometimes. I think about, like, when I look at stupid people that are happy, I'm like, I'm miserable.
They say smart people are unhappier.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
you'd have to be, right? Because you're aware of what's to be unhappy about. If it just doesn't occur to you. Like, if it just occurs to you, like, if a stupid person is probably going to be quicker to be like, I'm great. Like, wake up in the morning being like, I'm so glad to be me. I'm the man. Because they're stupid.
Not
They don't-
realizing their boss is talking about them behind their back.
Exactly.
Maybe this teacher didn't even affect the girl if she is stupid because
Right.
she was just like, oh, he's just jealous.
Right. Hater. Hi, hater.
I had a teacher, though, my second grade teacher told me that we had to color in squirrels. It was like everyone had to color in squirrels. And obviously, everyone was using brown crayons.
Right.
So there were no brown crayons left. So I thought, what is the closest thing? Purple. So I
not
started
even-
coloring it in purple. Well, that
That's
was the
not close
only
to brown.
option. It was
Yeah.
either don't complete the assignment or do it
They
like
didn't have a gray crayon?
she didn't specify like, hey, no, there weren't any gray ones. She
There
never
are gray squirrels.
specified
Yeah.
that like it had to be colored in the right color. She just said, hey, here, color these in. And everyone was using brown crayons.
Right.
There wasn't enough time to wait for a brown crayon, so I colored it in purple. And then she told me that her 3-year-old nephew was a better
And how old were
artist
you?
than I was.
Did you
7
color
or
it
8.
in?
Oh,
Did
that's
you
a
color
big
it
difference.
in well?
Yeah.
In the
Inside
lines?
lines?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
a fine arts minor in college.
Can I tell you something? If you were a fine arts minor, you would know both orange and yellow are closer to brown than purple is. I've never heard of a color further away from brown than
But
purple.
I admire your imagination.
I mean, actually, if you mix red and green, that makes brown. But with Crayola crayons, they don't mix so well.
Right. It just ends up looking like shit on top of each other. I do think that there is a difference between, like, that teacher had the option of rewarding your creativity and being like, oh, she's thinking outside the box, instead of
Purple.
being like, what are you, a fucking 3-year-old who thinks squirrels are purple? They're obviously brown. They're outside.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah, you're like, I thought I would just use my imagination. Yeah, well, next time you think, cut that out because you're dumb.
Yeah.
Did you feel stupid after that?
Oh, yeah.
Did she do it in front of the class or just pull you aside and be like,
in front of the entire class.
what possesses a person to have to, like, how badly do you feel about yourself that you have to tell an 8-year-old how stupid
Yeah.
they are?
I was talking about this last night with my friends about a 6th grade teacher we had who used to just love to shame people
He did.
in math. And I was like, what do you got? What do you have going on, dude?
What did he say?
He would make you feel dumb and like.
But you
like,
would tell you he liked it.
He would yell at you, and not like, "Hey, you're not doing the homework."
Right.
Like serious yell at you.
Right.
Like, what is the matter with you? What kind of person are you? Over fucking math homework in 6th grade.
He's making character evaluations of you.
Yeah, he was the first authority figure I think I ever really rebelled against.
Well,
Mr. K. Fuck
the
you,
better
Mr. K.
way to
Right,
do that
if you're
is to
listening.
just do, like, you know, I think you're really smart, but I'm just really disappointed that you didn't do this because you're not living up to your potential. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to make you feel bad.
Right. I can't believe I'm disappointing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would think though that all the teachers are just so fed up with being teachers that they get frustrated. These little snot-nosed kids that come in and haven't had the life beaten out of them yet by life. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean? For the most part, school teachers that are teaching kids, not professors, but like public school teachers, you know, are kind of beating people.
Well, most. The majority are bad teachers.
You think so?
From my
I
experience.
guess once you have life beaten out of you, how can you inspire people? And
don't
if you can't
care.
inspire people, how could you be a good teacher?
And also, if you're a high school teacher too, and you're one of the teachers that the kids don't like, that's rough.
Right.
Because at least me and my friends torture teachers.
I mean, look, I realized in 7th grade that teachers had feelings.
They're not just people that show up.
I swear, I had this crisis of conscience when I saw my math teacher's feelings be hurt. I saw on her face that she was hurt because the kids kept calling her the bearded lady.
Aww.
Because she had hair on her chin. And she knew that, like, you know, you're known as the bearded lady, and you got the bearded lady. That's not good.
We had one too.
That's not good. If you got like over the summer, it was like, oh, I know she teaches 7th grade math. Oh, I hope I don't. Oh no, who'd you get? The bearded lady.
Aww.
And then, like, when it was brought up in her class, it was like she wasn't mad, she was sad, and I was like, whoa. Feelings on that thing.
There was a teacher that I didn't have him, but he was at my school, and his name was Mr. McSheehy. And everyone called him
what a gift.
Mr. McSheehy the he-she.
Yes, of course they did.
But he was just like a normal guy that liked prairies and stuff.
He was a he-she. Oh, that's so bad. But yet, I'm very interested in this story, though, at what came before and after this little soundbite, because it's one of those sound bites that you have to, as a school, I guess, act upon and decide, well, we just got to fire this guy because he told this girl that she's so stupid.
It'd be one thing if he said she was dumb, but saying that she'll never make baby, or she should just go make babies or whatever it is.
He literally implied that the only part of her body that was worth anything was her vagina and ovaries. That's it. That's it. That she has nothing to offer the planet except that she has the ability to reproduce. I mean, that's very insulting. But I would first of all,
It could though.
it could be true.
Could be.
It could be. You don't know. I don't know
I've
the
never
girl.
met this young lady.
And that's what I'm saying. I want to know
I bet she's hot.
what that girl said. I saw her on the news. She's
Not
a
hot?
kid. She's a kid. She's in high school. She's 16 years old.
Okay.
Adrian's type.
Yeah, exactly. I want to know nobody's reporting what the girl said. Because it had to be so stupid for that to be the response. Or the guy was joking around with her.
No questions are dumb questions.
There are a lot of stupid questions. You know, I've heard that before. And I think most questions are stupid questions. I don't like questions in general.
Google it.
Right. But I
Take
think,
the time and Google it.
like, when somebody's like, hey, how does this work? It's like, just sit with it for 10 minutes and figure it out. You know what I mean? And you'll have a better understanding than anything I could tell you. How does this work? Stupid question. You know, that's dumb. There are a lot of stupid questions, I think. And that's one of them.
I've learned that
Yeah.
working with you.
Well, yeah, because
I used to ask a lot of dumb questions.
Right, because your fallback was to ask a question instead of learning how to do it.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a stupid way to be.
I hate when people ask questions or text questions or whatever it is, and it takes them just as long to ask the question than it would to look it up in a search engine.
Right. Yeah. Or it's like, what do you want for dinner? I want chicken. Well, then we'll get chicken. We can get chicken. That's fine. There are so many.
I mean, that's a decent question.
I don't like it.
But like, what time does this train leave for us, or what time does our flight leave? You have an app. You can look it up.
Right, look it up. It's fine. So there are stupid questions. So number one, I want to hear what the girl said. And number two, I want to find. I mean, the guy could have been joking. She said.
That doesn't sound like a joke.
No. It sounds like he really was frustrated with this girl and thought she was very, very stupid.
She could be.
She could be very stupid. She said, it really hurt me inside. That's what she told the news. That's her quote. And it said, it's a shame that it took a lawyer to be involved. It's a shame that it took this long. This happened, I guess, in like January or something. Mm-hmm. Now the girl can go to school and hopefully move on. She probably forgot about it already.
Yeah.
So stupid.
But now she knows that she's getting good grades for the rest of the year.
She's got to. You know what happens if you fail this stupid girl? You're fired.
Yeah.
You're out of here.
Exactly.
The only, I guess there's been a few instances. I had a math teacher in high school that was very disappointed in me. And he did it the right way. He wasn't like trying to shame me. He was like shocked that I had done so poorly. Because the day before, it was probably like freshman year, because we were just learning how to multiply and divide and reduce fractions. You know?
So useless.
And so I sat there. I mean, it's actually not as useless when you realize that, like, fractions are percentages, and that's how you figure out your taxes, and that's how you figure out tips.
There's
and that's
apps, though.
No, there are. Well, I mean, that mentality is, why would you go to school when there's apps?
No, it's just like, no. A lot of math that you learn is useless.
Do you need the quadratic formula in everyday life? No.
A squared equals C squared?
There are a lot of things that you do use math-wise that you don't even think about.
And a girl is not going to be terribly impressed. I have to, Cathy, you'd back me up here. Or tell me I'm wrong. I would imagine a guy who takes out a tip calculator is not the most impressive guy on the planet.
No.
You know, if you have to use an app to get to 20%, you are as dumb as this girl. You're
Move the decimal over one space and then multiply it by 2. That's 20%.
That's 20%. It's easy. If you're $10, you went to Wendy's, but you want to tip the person 20%. I don't know. It's something as cheap as Wendy's, but it's got table service. What are you tipping on $10?
$2.
There it is. You did that without an app. You know why?
It's 1/5.
Fractions. See? A lot of people do it different ways. I do it the Cathy way of figuring out 10%, multiplying it by 2. You just go for a fifth. Either way, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
I, however, when it came time to learn these fractions, decided today, because I would go through this in school, and decide today is not a day to pay attention. It's like today's a space out day.
Yeah.
Whatever you're saying up there, I will not disrupt it, but I'm just gonna be staring at this desk.
There are 180 days in a school year.
Right.
180 of them are space out days for me.
Yeah. I mean, my parents would get like flustered and befuddled and just confused when they'd go, okay, like, Sam, you're not doing well in school.
You're not dumb.
You're not dumb. You need to be up in your room, and you need to be studying for like 2 hours a night.
Didn't Einstein fail a lot of classes?
He was dyslexic.
I think so. And that's what I compare myself to. I think I'm Einstein level.
I mean, I think it's...
So that's why I fail classes.
But that's a lot of... It's in history, a lot of very, very smart and successful people failed out of school because they were just so bored. And
I was super bored.
I was bored.
Yeah. But I would sit there in my room, in my study time, and literally stare at the wall for 2 hours. Like, I'd follow the rule and be in there for 2 hours. And my parents would be like, why would you do that? Like, you could just do some work. Like, why would you sit in this? If you're going to sit in the room anyway, there's no other thing. There's no radio. There's no TV. You're not even using a computer because it's the 90s. You know, I'm sitting there with books and a notebook. I'm not even reading the books. I won't do it. I'm just staring at a wall for
better.
2 hours.
It's
Did you
better.
ever think-
It's better. I used to get the same shit. I used to have teachers calling my house all the time.
Yeah, he's
Being
just
like, he's
staring
not dumb, but he doesn't do anything.
Right. It's better, though.
Yeah, but if I didn't like it, I wasn't going to do it.
Right.
Did you ever think you had ADHD?
No, I thought that was nonsense.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was like, I mean, yeah.
Like you
I
can't
don't think you do.
concentrate on something.
I think I can concentrate when I want to.
I don't
Well,
think
yeah.
you have ADD.
You know what I mean? I think that there are a lot of people. I think there's an overdiagnosis of stuff. Like sometimes it's just like you just explain it the way your brain works. You know, there's no ADHD. There's no reason for a label. It's like
You just like doing certain things and don't like
right.
focusing on other things.
Like we need to have a medical label on people who only want to do what they want to do. How about humans? Like that's what you're supposed to do. Like you're supposed, but like everything gets this medical label on it, or you're told in school it's not what you're supposed to be doing, or you're so busy trying to please a teacher or please a boss or whatever. It sets up your entire life cycle so that you're conditioned to not just do what you want to do. You're supposed to, as a person, figure out what you like to do, and then figure out
How you can make a living off of it.
Thank you, Cathy Kelley. That's how you're supposed to live your life. But you can't do that. I don't think you can do that and get straight A's. Because the only way you can get straight A's is by saying, did you get straight A's?
No.
That's
I mean,
right.
a couple times.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But not generally speaking. You didn't get straight A's.
Yep.
You just said you failed classes
No,
by
I
looking
didn't.
at the wall.
I didn't fail any, but I didn't get straight A's.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would sit there knowing, I'm like, if I do nothing, I can get C's. If I do a lot of work, I can get A's. I'm fine with C's.
Yeah.
What difference? Like, I would get an A, and unless my parents were giving me, like, money or some kind of reward for it, it would mean nothing. Like, the work itself, like, and that's why you're supposed to do what you like to do. Because there are things for everybody where the work itself is the reward. Like you were just saying at the beginning of this. You don't like your weekends because the work is the reward, and when you stop working, you're like, man.
It's crazy when you love what you do.
Right. That's what you're supposed to do. But instead, you're like, oh, I'm just working for the A. I'm working for and it's like, you're not going to have A's when you move on. And they don't mean anything.
I heard this quote recently and I thought it was hilarious. It's, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life because that area probably isn't hiring.
That's right. That's right. But so the day came when it was time to learn fractions. And that day for me was a no focus day. That was a skip it day. And then the next day there was a fraction quiz. And I was like, okay, let me see if I can wing this. And it was like, you know, like 1/2 is x over 6. I was like, that's easy. 3 is half of 6. And then it was like 2/9 is x over 4 or whatever. And I was like, oh no. This I don't know. Like the whole cross multiply thing was beyond me. I had not learned that previously because I had not seen it. Mm-hmm. And so I just was writing numbers, and they gave it back to him, went, finito, done, I think you will be pleased, and, you know, left the class. And the next day, I walked into the classroom, and my teacher was like, Sam, what happened yesterday? And I was like, what do you mean? And he goes, dude, that quiz was a gift. It was supposed to be just an A for everybody.
Oh, no.
He was like, what happened? And he was like, do you need extra help or anything? I was like, no, I don't know. And I just went and sat down. Like, I don't need anything. But yeah, I mean, I failed it with flying colors. It was the easiest quiz you could ever take. Mm-hmm. But because I hadn't concentrated on anything and didn't realize that. And then once I was like, I looked at the paper, I realized everybody in the class had gotten like an A. And I had failed it. I was like, okay, maybe this is probably something I should look into. And I just kind of looked up. And I think he just did it because he knew that I had no idea what was going on. And he just explained cross-multiplying fractions. And within 30 seconds, I was like, oh, I know how to do all these now. It was so easy to me then, but not before.
Did you get a retake?
No, I didn't care. I mean, I did. I took Latin in 7th and 8th grade.
You purposely
Why?
That's right. Because it was like here's what happened. They were like, some kids are invited to take Latin. And I was like, oh, it's prestigious.
It's like being in Gifted and Talented.
Exactly. Exactly.
But if you think about it, if you actually had taken that class seriously, you would know the base for every single language.
Right. Unfortunately, I did not take that class
Oh.
seriously. And you want to talk about retakes. Like, because I didn't want to fail a language, I ended up in 8th grade in after-school help retaking literally every test of the semester. All of them.
Aw.
And it was very unfair because it was like all the kids that had actually studied for these tests that I failed, like, they could have just retaken them with me.
I used to.
But
It was the
also,
same test.
If you had studied before and done well on the test, you would have saved time because you wouldn't have had to retake the test.
Spend every single day after
Yeah.
school. Yeah.
I used to have retakes at the end of like every marking period.
Yeah. You got to.
In a bunch of different classes. Be like, listen, I know I fucked up, but give me one big
One
test.
more chance.
100. I'll guarantee you 100
Did you get 100?
on a lot of them. Yeah.
Good for you. Good for you. The only bad one teacher experience I had was in drum class
What?
because I was in band, and I thought I was like okay, you have to take a music class. It's like, well, regular just straight music class that like the idiots take, there's still like you have to learn about musicians and take tests. I was like, I do not want to do that. It's like, what instruments are there? And it was like, well, there's like the trumpet. And it's like, it's got all these buttons, and you have to figure out how to blow into it. It's that whole thing. There's the trumpet, and there's the violin, and but you got to know how to, tilt it and
Violin
hit the
sucks.
bow. And it seems so hard,
But drum class, you just hit stuff.
Right? And
You
they were
just
like,
jam, right?
They were like, "Can we get the drums?" And I was like, "That's a thing? You could take a class on drums? That's the easiest instrument there is." I had no idea that drums set the pace for the entire band.
Yeah.
Like, drum is a very, very difficult instrument to master. I thought it was just like, but there's no notes. You just hit it at the right time.
Yeah, but there's also like different speeds and
Absolutely, and there
different
are
rolls
notes.
and,
Like, yeah, and there's this whole thing. So, like, I mean, eventually I just stopped bringing my drumsticks to class so I could sit out. Like, I was like, forgot them, bro. What are you gonna do? No sticks. No sticks. Sticks doesn't have his sticks with him. Sorry,
Oh.
man. But I almost got him in trouble. He might have gotten in trouble for it.
Was your teacher J.K. Simmons?
Yeah, my hands were all bloody. I might have gotten him in trouble for it because I ratted him out to my mom because when we started the class, he thought he was going to motivate us. I think he thought he was, J.K. Simmons because he looked at us and he goes, "I want you all to know something. Right now, you are all bottom-feeding slime suckers."
So your teacher said to you?
Yes.
I would have went off.
And he was the drum teacher, and I think he was trying to be like that guy, like, I'm going to motivate you. And so I was like, huh. And then I went home, and my mom was like, "Sammy, how was drums today?" And I was like, "The teacher called us bottom-feeding slime suckers." She
That
was
was a
like,
complaint to the principal. Huh?
she was like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, he called us bottom-feeding slime suckers. I don't even know what that is." She's like, "Oh, no.
no.
And so, yeah, she went and complained. And I ended up, because I realized drum was hard, I ended up getting out of the drum class.
By having your mom complain.
Yeah, having my mom complain about, J.K. Simmons calling me a bottom-feeding slime sucker. And then I just went into music class for stupid people. And it was so easy. It was definitely the right way to go. Like,
It's the best.
Like in the music class for stupid people, there were so many dumb people in the class, and the teacher knew it, that, like, she would hand out tests. And we could ask her, like, number 4 is way too hard. What do you mean? Like, what's the answer? And she's like, "Do we all feel this way?" And we were like, "Yeah." And she would be like, "Okay, the answer to number 4," and she would tell us.
She was one of the mail-it-in teachers.
She was great.
She was just like, whatever.
Everybody loved her too.
this
by the
doesn't
way.
mean anything.
Everybody adored her.
Yeah.
My favorite teacher story of somebody being awful with me was in Syracuse. This was a professor. In Syracuse, I took a class. Again, a lot of my strategy was taking classes that I thought would be easy. So there was a class called History of the Roman Empire Through Film. I was like, "What is that?"
Just watch
Thought of
movies all
its
day.
movies.
Right, and they were like, "Well, you'll learn about the Roman Empire and then see how it played out in films like Spartacus and Gladiator." And I was like, "Sign me up!"
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm taking this class. And I'm sitting there, and I sign up for it, and blah, 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 and I leave my advisor's office, and this kid is out there, and he goes, "Hey, man, what'd you sign up for?" And I was telling him, History of Roman Empire Through Film. And he goes, RoboCop's class. And I was like, what? He's like, RoboCop's class. I was like, what do you mean? We're watching RoboCop in that class? That's awesome. And he goes, no, he's teaching it.
Is that bad?
I was like, what? What? And I looked down at the paper, and it said Professor Peter Weller, the actor who played RoboCop, is teaching the class. The real RoboCop was teaching the class. And I was like, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
And I loved it because I would just sit there. I got such a kick out of him because he was such a character. Like, the idea was every day, every week, it's once a week, it's a 3-hour lecture. Idea being that you watch a 2-hour movie in the 3-hour lecture.
That's what you thought?
That's what the class is structured to be.
Oh my gosh.
So you talk for an hour,
Yeah.
and then he puts the movie on. And then some of these movies are longer than 2 hours. These are like epic movies. So what they would do is they'd have a thing called Cinematech, which is there's a couple of times that the movie is showing. So what you don't finish in class on your own time, you have to go see it. Then you take the film and you take what the lecture was about, which also had a ton of reading material every week, and you combine them and write a one-page paper on some kind of element on it. One-page paper, I mean, I could literally write a one-page paper on any topic right now.
88 font.
Right, no problem. It's like one word. But
This
I go,
is Sparta! Exclamation point, exclamation point.
But so I go,
Wrong
okay.
empire.
I go, okay, I can do that. And I'm never, I mean, I knew right away, you will never catch me in a Cinematech. Like, if that's a volunteer, like, go on your own time, I would not go on my own time. My own time is defined by that statement. My own time, not yours. So I'm never going to see those. But it's like, and he would even say, I don't want you to summarize the film in the reading. I want you to take out one element. I want you to make it unique. I want you to make it interesting for me to read. And right there, when he says that, I'm like, that's fucking great. All I need to do is watch 5 minutes of the movie.
Pick that.
And just go for. But I would sit there, and I didn't realize that RoboCop loves the sound of his own voice. Peter Weller would sit there and lecture for the entire 3 hours. He wouldn't even get to the film because he was so caught up in lecturing us about the Roman Empire and also talking about his Hollywood friends. I can't tell you
how many times he name dropped.
Oh, if I could tell you how many times he mentioned his jazz band with Jeff Goldblum. That's
I hate when people are. That's so LA to be like, oh yeah, this guy I know, Leo DiCaprio.
Right, that's what he would
So
say
is
every time. You know, if we were performing, Jeff and I in the jazz band that we do, Jeff Goldblum, and and I'd be like, well, who cares about your jazz band? And then it was like the same time The Passion of the Christ came out, and he was like, you know, I want you all to see The Passion of the Christ. It is very relevant to the class. I've left a voicemail for Mel. He may come in and talk about it.
Mel Gibson.
And I go, Mel Gibson is not coming in this classroom, bro. He's not coming. But there was
Fly out to Syracuse. Why
exactly.
not?
Well, he would, and this
In
would
his
drive
free
me.
time.
This was the beginning of big companies spending big money for no reason. Syracuse would fly Peter Weller from L.A. to Syracuse once a week.
What?
He was only teaching the one class once a week.
That's nuts.
So they would fly him in. He would do his 3-hour class. He would stay overnight, probably at the hotel on campus. They would pay for it, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they'd fly him back to L.A. every single week
How many
for the
kids
whole
were
semester.
in that class?
A lot.
Worth it for them, I guess?
I don't know. But it was like...
Well, yeah, you got RoboCop teaching a class. It's a huge deal.
I mean, it was dope for me.
Yeah.
What was his rating on ratemyteacher.com?
I don't know. I should look that up. Should give him one.
Yeah.
It was probably... It was over 100 people in the class.
Yeah.
It was a big class.
If you had looked it up, you would probably know that he would lecture the entire time.
Right. I should... Well, no, it was the first time they were doing it. I was in the inaugural RoboCop Roman Empire hit film class.
Oh, wow.
That's right. That's right, Adrian. It's impressive.
Part of history.
That's right. So, he would also, like, it would take forever to get the class started because he had no experience. So his idea was that since there's 100, 150 kids in the class, every week, you know, I said we would have to do a paper. He would hand them back every week to each kid. So he's got to go around this auditorium handing 150 papers back individually to person after person.
What an asshole.
It's like, and I'd just be sitting there like, this is amazing. But it might be the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, quite frankly. In front of the entire class, he's got the paper, and and you know how, I mean, Adrian, you probably know how it is. Cathy, I don't know if you ever did this, but when you're doing stuff like not doing any of the work but still writing a paper, you sometimes, and I did this, there was another film class, I would look at it, and the question, it would be an essay question, and it was about this Mexican film, and it said, how did the local people respond to the creation of this film? And I looked at the question, and I had never heard of that movie before in my life. And it was an exam on the film that we'd watched as a class.
Yeah.
It's like, I have never heard of that movie. But I looked at it, I was like, well, I can't just be vague, because that's very obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was like, here's what I need to do. I need to take a stance and either go down in flames. Like, this is the opposite of the
You
truth.
have to just take a shot.
Right, because it's obvious in the question.
Yeah.
It's either the locals liked it because it represented the culture well, or the locals didn't like it because it wasn't authentic. So I was like, I got to pick one of those two sides and write a page about it. I could write a page about either of those two sides right now without knowing the movie, but I got to pick one. And I picked one, and I think it worked because I've passed the class and the test and everything.
I also love teachers that are like, oh, well, maybe they just didn't interpret it
Right.
the same
Yeah.
way.
They would give you the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, that's the best.
But so I would say that was my strategy a lot for RoboCop class. And he was passing back papers one day, and he goes, "Where's Sam?" And I raised my hand, and he walked over to me, and in front of the entire auditorium, he threw the paper at me, and he goes, "Sam, you got to crack a book, man." And he kept walking.
I hate
and I
teachers
was like
that.
Yes, RoboCop. I took so much pride in it, but then, go ahead.
You took pride in that?
Yeah, so much. RoboCop telling me I got to crack a book.
He knows your name.
Right.
I hate teachers like that.
I said in that moment, I will never stop talking about this moment. Like, do you know how many parties I could go to, how many dates I could go on, how many people I could meet and just drop this story? You know? It's amazing.
RoboCop thought I was an asshole.
Right. It's my favorite story ever. And then I would be sitting next to this girl who was one of those, is what we were talking about. She's this neurotic sort of, I have to do all the work
to get straight
assigned.
A's, yeah.
I have to get straight A's, blah, blah, blah. And she hated me at one point because after that I was like, okay, I got to re-strategize so he thinks I'm cracking books. Because I would spend all my time strategizing on how I could convince him that I was cracking books.
Even though you weren't.
Right.
Use one quote from a book.
Right. Whereas if I just cracked a book, it would take half as long. Mm-hmm. But I had to spend but it was way too important to me to not crack a book.
See, that's when you go back and you see the question and it's about civilizations crumbling or something like that. So you go online and you type in quotes from books on civilizations crumbling, and you start off your essay with, it's just like,
right,
Socrates once said.
Plato has said. But I would sit there and it's like, okay, like my favorite one I ever pulled off that I was successful at, and this is what made her just loathe me, was we were watching Passion of the Christ. Not Passion of the Christ. What's the Scorsese movie? The Jesus movie.
Jesus Christ Superstar?
Yes.
It's a great movie.
Yes, it is a great movie. I hadn't seen it then.
Willem Dafoe,
Great
right?
play,
Yes.
too.
Yes. But I've seen it since. And it's a great
That's
movie.
a stupid name.
Jesus Christ Superstar?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought Willem Dafoe.
I love Willem Dafoe.
He's the man. Fucking Green Goblin. How do you do better than that? But I was sitting there, and I go, okay, I haven't seen this movie. I don't know what's going to go on. Paper's due in a week. Whatever. I'll figure it out. And he goes, I know there were some problems at Cinematech this week because Cinematech is only 2 hours. And so if the movie's over 2 hours, we're all screwed because RoboCop's talking the entire 3-hour lecture. We're not starting the movie in lecture where we're supposed to. Mm-hmm. So in this case, and he would do it sometimes, and it would always be great for me when he did. He would come in and be like, we didn't have time to do the whole movie in Cinematech, so we're going to watch the end here. And I'd be like, perfect! All I need is the end. And so I was sitting there, and I was watching, literally the last 4 minutes of this movie, and the credits. And the credits had this 80s theme song playing. As movies did. Scarface, same thing. Mm-hmm. And I went, bingo. And I go home, and I wrote this one-page paper about how traditionally the story of Jesus is a timeless story, But as well as it's told in the Scorsese film, the soundtrack reminds us of the time period that it was actually produced. And I wrote this whole page all based on the fact that it was 80s music in the credits.
Mm-hmm.
And this time he's passing papers back, and he goes, let's see. And no, he wasn't even passing papers back. He was just reflecting on what he had read over the week. And he goes, who in here wrote the paper mentioning the soundtrack? Hand goes up.
That'd be me.
That'd be me, Robo. And I was like, I raised my hand, like, full confidently, not knowing if this was going to be a good thing or a bad thing, but I was happy with it either way. I don't care. And so I raised my hand, and he was like, brilliant, Sam. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And I could just hear the girl next to me grinding her teeth because she's sitting there watching the movies and going to Cinematech and reading all
Study
this
guides.
ridiculous reading that he's making us do every week. And I'm not an ounce of it. Not once, not never.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. It was great. Yeah. The only other time, and it's, we talk about doing what we like and how we always do better. Did you have any classes in school, Cathy, that you liked so you would do better in those classes?
Math and art.
Math and art.
Yeah.
Those don't go together
I
usually.
hate math.
I loved math and
You
I
did.
loved art. I loved algebra especially.
Oof.
I thought it was fun. I just like equations, like solving problems or
'Cause-
whatever. Like I loved mystery books of, like those 1-minute mysteries that you
Right.
had to solve or whatever. I loved those.
So you look at algebra like a
love
puzzle.
Sudoku, love like crossword puzzles. So like that's algebra is kind of like you have to find the solution.
Is that how math is in your head? It's like a puzzle that you're putting together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
puzzles.
Yeah. I like Legos. It's not the same
Legos
thing.
are great.
Yeah, but it's not like if I
We-
thought of
we
math
talked about
like,
this,
like I
though.
thought of Legos,
What?
be better.
Yeah, no, I love Legos, but like they get so expensive. Like
Yeah.
once you do a kit, you can't unless you have just like fuck money to spend.
Right.
You can't
Right.
just buy a million Lego kits. So like I've started buying puzzles because they're, $5.
Plus, if you smash a Lego set and rebuild it, it's like, now open bag 4. And you're like, I don't know. I just have all the pieces now. I can't do this again. But did you have any classes that you liked so you were good in them?
Yeah. I mean, they were mostly electives.
Right. That's fine.
Like, creative writing was my favorite class.
Right. And you get straight A's.
Yeah, that's what I got into college on, was
Right.
writing.
Right.
I got a scholarship.
Have I ever told you guys about the entrepreneurship class? Mm-mm. That, changed my life. I was sitting there in the cafeteria one day, and some kid was like,
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
I did.
Yeah.
Some kid's selling pens. And I'm like, what are you selling?
Oh, we had a class like this.
What are you selling pens for? And he goes, entrepreneurship class. I was like, what is entrepreneurship class? And he goes, well, you learn how to start your own business, and then you go into the wholesale district in New York City on a field trip. And then you get $50 to spend on on a business that you start, and then you put a business whatever together, a business, not proposal, but a business plan together.
Yeah.
And I go, hold the phone. When do you pay back the $50? And the kid goes, you don't. I go, no. They give you $50 in cash. And he goes, yeah. I go, cash. He goes, yeah. I go, not like a loan or like one of those, like a bond, not a $50 bond. He goes, no, a $50 bill. And I go, you don't pay that back. He goes, no. He goes, sign me up for this class immediately. I want that $50 now. And I go, and you go a field trip. And he goes, yeah, you got to miss school for a day. I was like, there's a class where you get to miss all your other classes for a day and get $50. And it's not like a line out the door. This is like the hidden treasure of New Rochelle High School. This is amazing. And so I went in, and I was like, yep, sign me up. That is my class. And all my energy went into it, but I also didn't take it seriously. Like, I took the business part seriously. Like, I realized I could make
You made money and then kept it.
Right, and then keep the money. So I did that part. Like, I did everything right. But, I basically just acted like a jerk-off to the teacher the whole time. Because I was like, no, it's not a real class. I'm just here. I'm going to make money. Because what I did was I got the $50. I went into the wholesale district in New York City. But the wholesale district in New York City is basically like an Oriental trading catalog come to life. It's a bunch of stuff that nobody wants that they're trying to sell you a gross of.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want a gross of any of this stuff. I'm not going to be able to unload any of it. And so while we're in New York, I go, do you have to buy something here? And he goes, no. I go, so I can start a business outside. I don't. He goes, no, yeah, you don't have to. And WrestlingTapes.com had already been launched, but I couldn't, say that, like, for class, I have this illegal bootleg wrestling tape business. So that was another
I
business.
also hate that you called it wrestling.
Wrestling tapes.
Wrestling.
Wrestling tapes was taken. So I go in. I skipped the whole thing. I come out of New York City with nothing. I didn't buy anything. That weekend, I was like, Mom, we gotta go to Costco. And so I went to Costco and bought $50 worth of wholesale candy.
On your mom's dime.
No. I spent my
his
$50. I had
yeah.
integrity. I had the $50. I was like, I'm not worried about it because I'm going to turn this $50 into more because my business is going to be selling candy. Boom. And people are stupid in high school. Like this one girl, in Georgia, dumbest girl that the guy ever met. Lots of people are stupid like that. I would buy gum, and back then it was like gum, like a pack of Winter Fresh had 25 cents stamped on it.
Yeah.
Until I go to
Sell it
school.
for 50.
No, I go to school and I'd sell gum, 25 cents, 5 for $1. And the kids would be like, Sam, gum costs 25 cents. You're not making any money off this. And I'm like, yeah, I guess not. Because it didn't occur to them that you just go to Costco and buy a box of gum. And you don't still pay 25 cents a pack. It's simple economics.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm nuts. But I was selling gum and lollipops and peanut butter cups and M&Ms and doing the whole thing.
Out of a white van.
Yeah, pretty much. I would just open the box, and you're not allowed to walk around school selling candy unless it's a fundraiser. But nobody knew what the entrepreneurship class was, like I said. So, like, I'd be stopped by the hall monitors or whatever. And I'm like, it's for entrepreneurship class. We're just, it's a class thing.
The hall, you have hall monitors?
We're like security guards.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Not
think
like
I think
kids.
it meant like students.
No, I mean like large black security guards that
Because
wanted.
the hall monitor stopped me.
No, our nickname
outta
for
here.
one of our quote unquote hall monitors was Shaft.
Oh,
Because he was
okay.
about 6'6".
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I only want to tell this story because we were talking about it earlier today. One of my favorite classes, actually probably the only class that I remember really, really loving in high school, or it was this one teacher. His name was Mr. Condi, and he was a film producer that also taught our editing classes and then news scene, which was like our live news production class.
Yeah.
He taught these classes and learned a lot in them, like learned video editing, everything. But our field trip was to go to the set of Jerry Springer.
Oh my God.
The coolest field trip I had ever
school
been
took
on
people
in
on-
my entire life. And I still have a picture. I'm like pretend choking my best guy friend on the set of Jerry Springer.
Oh, that's great. And you were in Chicago, so it was when
Yeah.
Springer was really Springer.
Yeah.
Oh, if I found out there was a class, I would take the whole class just.
Well, that was the reward at the end of it. I don't think I knew going into it. It was just like the class was you would make a music video at the end of the semester, did that. And then from that, he asked me to be in the news production class. And that was where we got
That's
to do Jerry
amazing.
Springer. Yeah.
That's so cool.
We didn't actually get to see a taping of Jerry Springer, but we got to go around all of like NBC studios down there and like.
You got to see the set, though.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
Our school used to take people to Maury.
Like, just to go watch the show?
If you were in media, yeah. If you were in media, you would go. You'd be part of the audience, and then
Did you get to do it?
I was eligible, but when they scheduled it, the year that I could go, I think I had like a wrestling match or something.
How
So I couldn't
hilarious
go.
would it be if they had like gimmicked envelopes on the stage where it says, "You are the father," and you just get to go open them up?
But everybody in my school went to Maury as part of media.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we had a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
Well, I had a class like the entrepreneur. It was business with Miss Schill,
Yeah.
and
Schill.
I spent the market just torturing her. She was an idiot, and we had to sell candy. They gave us a big box of candy, and
Did you get to keep the dough?
no.
See?
And I there was something
By
shady
the way,
about it.
that's so stupid. The class is like, we're going to teach you how to run a business. Everybody's just going to sell candy. You're in high school.
Yeah,
Like, everybody, but that's not, teaches you nothing. It's just a waste of time.
and it was shady where the money was going.
Right.
And I said something to Michelle about it. Like, it was like 3 days before the money was due. I hadn't sold any because I wasn't walking around school with a cardboard suitcase full of
If
candy.
you're not keeping the money, then why what are you selling it for?
And she was like, if you don't give me $200, I'm gonna fail you.
What?
So I was like, if I don't sell all of this, you're gonna fail me.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do. I knew that.
What do you need the
I would
cash
have
for, Miss Shell?
I knew that I would have an argument against
Of
it.
course.
So what I did was I didn't sell it all, and I paid her $100 in quarters. And then it went to the principal, and I won the argument there.
You should. You got to.
Where it was like, you can't force him to give you money.
Right. That's not how this works. Well, that's what the grade's based on.
Yeah.
Money, bribery. In that entrepreneurship class, like, I did all the business stuff right. And I made a business plan and everything, but I didn't take any of the rest of it seriously. So, like, at the end of the thing, there was a contest where you pitched your business plan. You explained what your business was, and there were like 3 judges. One of them was the teacher, and one of them was the teacher's friend. It was stupid. But they had money. Like, first place got like $200, second place got $100, third place got $50. Real cash money.
Cash money.
Cash money. So,
Adrian's too young.
yeah. But I had been kind of making a mockery of the class all semester. As I was making, it was one of those things where, like, I was making so much more money than anybody else in the class because they're all trying to sell Oriental trading stuff that nobody wants.
And you were selling candy.
Yeah, and keeping it all. Like, I was making hundreds of dollars. So it was like a joke at that point. So, like,
You're the only one with repeat customers, probably.
exactly. So I would just, like, torture the teacher. Like, he was this guy. He was like a used car salesman. And he said that when he was growing up, everybody cool wore their belt buckle to the side of their pants, like in Brooklyn. And so he used to walk around with his belt buckle on the side.
I would have tortured that guy.
And he goes like,
oh my God.
He comes into class late one day and goes, sorry class. And I go, were you in the bathroom and couldn't find your belt buckle? Couldn't get your pants off? Where is it? And I would just make belt buckle jokes all day.
So you were good at it at the
class?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I would
At
torture the
selling
teacher.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah. See,
And then the worst thing I did, and this cost me, I know it cost me, was
Not actual money.
No, not well, yeah, actual money
Oh.
in the end, because we were in the computer lab, typing up our business plans, and this was like Windows 95 or whatever, and you could easily change the screensaver and the background to word art. Remember word art? So the teacher's name was Demuth, so I just wrote Demuth is a woman in word art. And put it as a screensaver on every computer in the computer lab and all the backgrounds of every computer. Like, I would just, like, go kid to kid in the class and be like, can I just borrow your computer for a second? And I did it on all of them. And he was pissed to the point where, like, when it came time to propose our business plans, I did it, and I didn't win first place. Even though, like, I obviously had the best business. They had to give me second place. They had to give me something because it's like, come on, like, who's kidding who here? But they gave first place to a kid that was selling, like, electronic calculator calendars. And, like, nobody's buying that thing, dude. Nobody's buying it.
Yeah. See, everybody in the class got the cardboard box of candy.
Right.
So at all times there were kids walking around school with a cardboard box of candy, and I wasn't going to be one of those fucking idiots.
Right.
And I also was going to put effort into selling candy.
No, you did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Yeah.
You did the right thing.
We would torment her.
You have to.
We make her cry like once every 2 weeks.
That's not
so
that great.
mean.
You
Not
shouldn't make
mean.
Yeah.
You were
Teachers have
mean.
feelings.
She was nuts.
That's what I found out later.
She was nuts.
Yeah.
But also, I had friends who took advantage of her neurosis.
Is that right?
Like, she was a very nervous woman, and I had one.
I'd be nervous too if I was trying to get $200 out of each of my students to pass them.
Well, I had a friend named Ray who looked like he was 40.
Yeah.
And she didn't know him, and we would just randomly bring him into class, and she would freak out halfway through class when she realized that there was a stranger, and he looked like a grown man, and nobody would answer any questions. She would say, "Who is this man?" And the whole class would sit there like, I don't know. I don't know who he is. And she would freak out and run to the office.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I mean, once I stopped really giving a fuck in high school, it got fun. Like,
It was a lot of fun.
Towards the end, it got real fun. You didn't torture anybody though, Kathy.
No.
I tortured teachers.
You have to.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
And a lot of them were dicks.
Yeah.
My friends wrote in like almost every they started a rumor that the one math teacher, Hallstetter, they started a big thing and became like a catchphrase in my high school. Like, people in my hometown still say it. Hallstetter blew his dad.
Okay, that's rough.
Aww.
That's rough.
And I don't know who would have done something like this, but people wrote all over school, on desks, on walls, on lockers, in the bathroom stalls, in big bubble letters. Hallstetter blows his dad.
But you don't know who would do that.
I don't know. No.
No, that you were.
I know people who said that.
Oh,
and
you
may
do?
have started that rumor about Mr. Hallstetter.
You do?
I still think it could be true.
Can you imagine that happening to you at work, though?
Yeah, just fuck. Just a
Like-
bunch of little kids running around saying, I blew my dad.
But
I would
imagine
hate that.
How horrible that has to be like, oh, all these 16-year-olds think I'm a loser.
I
Yeah.
would like to think if I was a teacher, I would command a certain respect, though.
Yeah.
I think I'd be the man.
You'd be the cool teacher?
I think, well, I mean, yeah, and they'd learn something from me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like Richie Belding. Yeah,
Mr. Belding?
No, Mr. Belding's brother. Remember, he had long hair. He was dope. He was going to take the kids whitewater rafting. I mean, in the end, they found out Mr. Belding was a far more responsible teacher. But I still think I'd be the cool Belding with the long hair, being like, "Hey, kids, here's my idea for a field trip: whitewater rafting." I think it could work out. I think it could be really, really good. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of Sam and Cathy this week. You want to follow Cathy, Catherine Kelley on Twitter, and Cathy Kelley on Instagram. Anything else going on?
No.
Good. I'm glad you took some time to think about it, though. And of course, Radio Adrian 1 is your Twitter name, right?
That's me.
That's you. That's you. Anything exciting, Cathy, this week coming up for you that you want to discuss publicly? I guess.
Just work.
Right.
I
Right.
think.
Work.
Work.
Well, you know,
That's good.
you'll be able to. That's right. You'll be able to catch us every night, Monday through Friday. Sam Roberts Show.
It's a good show.
On thank you, Adrian. On XM 103, Sirius 206.
Well produced.
And yeah, we'll see you then. And please subscribe, rate, review on iTunes. If you're listening on SoundCloud, subscribe on iTunes because then you subscribe and it downloads. But do that, and we appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.